Hello guys, TAFHD here and welcome back to another video, and I thought that today we could take a look at the setup where I edit my videos. Now this has changed quite a lot since the start of the year. I'll overlay a picture of what my setup for video editing looked like then. I made a full video about it. I had two 24-inch monitors set up on my desk and that was in every way better than the setup which I've got set up now. But since I've had to condense my office all onto just two desks, whereas before there was four, so I've had to make some compromises, and this desk is actually in a different place. If you remember, the old one was against a white wall. This is now next to my main setup, which is over there. So before I get into this, I just want to say this isn't perfect at all. As you can see, there are cables everywhere around the back. That's because all of my hard drives which are down there, the cables aren't long enough to comfortably reach the computer without being able to see them. Whether I buy longer cables in the future or not, I don't know. I'm not sure how long I will be keeping this setup like this, because I've got a few plans to completely change this setup altogether, move that computer somewhere else, and I'll have a bit more space there, but we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. So this is in no way a perfect setup. I don't particularly like it, but it gets the job done. So let's start from left to right. Alright, so over here on the left is my MacBook Pro. This is the same 15-inch 2015 Retina MacBook Pro that I've had from new for nearly 5 years now. The majority of videos on this channel were edited on this thing either in iMovie or within the past year Final Cut Pro. There was a little period of time where I used my Windows computer to edit, but that just didn't work out very well, so I came back to the MacBook Pro, and that is this machine. It was quite expensive, I think at £1,900 new, but I've definitely got my money's worth out of it, and I think I'll be keeping it for quite a bit longer until the new Mac Mini comes out with the higher end chip in it, or maybe I'll get a new MacBook Pro. Who knows? I can't really afford to buy a new one when this one still works just fine. So this is what I use to edit my videos, and it is sat on the Griffin elevator stand. I made a video about this stand a couple of years ago, and I've had my computer on it ever since. And my MacBook Pro is connected to the monitor which is next to it, and that is the 20-inch cinema display which I got with my Mac Mini. This came boxed, which was a nice surprise, and I essentially got this monitor for free. I think I paid £250 for the Mac Mini and this boxed cinema display. I'm still trying to sell the Mac Mini. I can probably get £225 for it, so this monitor has basically cost me £25. If I wanted to sell it because I've got the box, I could probably get maybe £100 for it. I'm not planning on selling it anytime soon because I do like it, but I suppose that is something that I could do in the future. I believe this monitor's resolution is 1680 by 1050, so not a high resolution by today's standards. I was planning on editing on my 4K monitors, but because my computer is an older one, I can only run them at 30 Hz, and it's just not very smooth and it wouldn't be the best experience. So I've got to stick with lower resolution monitors or just edit on the internal display. But I've edited a couple of videos on this, and so far it's been working out just fine. This is a very old monitor now. It's about 15 or 16, I believe. I've tuned the colours slightly to make them a little bit more realistic because this is quite a warm monitor, so I've just adjusted them a bit to look a bit nicer, and it works just how I need it to on this setup. Now down here is my camera battery charger, and of course behind there you can see all the cables. Like I said, my hard drive cables aren't long enough to reach over there. There's not enough room for me to put them over there, so they've got to stay there all stretched out. And of course I do still need to get one more hard drive, so that will be one more cable which will be in the way, but I'm really not that bothered about it. This setup gets the job done and I'm absolutely fine with that, you can see down here all the loose USBs for the drives, because I don't have enough USB ports to plug them all in, but yet again it is what it is and it serves its purpose just fine. Speaking of hard drives, these are the 4 which are currently connected. 2TB Time Machine, 4TB with everything on it, backup of everything on that. Then this one's currently blank but will back up everything that's on my next drive once this is full. This is very nearly full, so I will have to buy another one of these extremely soon, probably by Christmas. So we've got 4, 8, 12, 14 terabytes of capacity there. Of course I can't use it all because some of it is for backups, but that's all there, and right now that is all the storage I need, but not for much longer. So down here I'm still using my first generation Apple Trackpad. I got this with my 2014 Mac Mini about 4 years ago, kept a hold of that and the keyboard when I sold it. I sold it for the same price as I bought it for, so I essentially got these for free. This is a first generation aluminium wireless keyboard. It works just as I want it to. Now the batteries do always run low, so it would be nice to have the second generation where you can just plug it in, but this works just fine. I just always have to keep some batteries on hand for when it runs low, and I do need to replace them now because it's been warning me for weeks that the batteries are very, very low, so that is something I'll have to get onto later. Now the reason I use a trackpad instead of a mouse is because it's just so easier to scrub through the timeline like this instead of using a mouse. It's just so much easier. I always used to edit using my MacBook Pro trackpad, and this is just so much easier to use once you're used to just using the trackpad, so I don't particularly like using a mouse when video editing. Maybe at some point I'll get the bigger second generation trackpad because this one isn't the biggest, but again it does what I need it to just fine. Next on my desk is my mouse mat. This is quite old now. It's by KK Moon. This was off Amazon. It was probably about 10 quid. It's really badly stained and starting to go sticky. I've washed it many times, but the dirty stuff just doesn't come off. I've got no idea what this is, but it doesn't look very good, so I may get a new one at some point in the future. Then next to that, I've just got a coaster, just so I can put my drink on something without getting my desk wet. I don't particularly care about these desks, but it's nice to just try and keep it protected. Speaking of the desk, this is just your standard IKEA Linmon, and I've got it on 4 black Adils legs. This is one of the 1 meter desks, and my main setup is on a 2 meter. Now for years I've been talking about getting new desks, and I really want to, but I'm not sure which ones to get. I don't particularly want white ones. Again, I kind of want wood effect ones, so I've been thinking of the Carlby. That's always a popular choice, but I would have to get custom length ones to fit in this room, and IKEA charges a lot for custom length ones. I believe it's more expensive for a custom 1 meter one than just getting a 1.8 meter one, so I'll have to think about that in the future. For now, these desks are fine and they fit everything I need on them just fine, so I'm not going to get rid of them anytime soon, although it would be nice to have different ones. And here's a look under the desk. All my cables are just shoved in the IKEA Signum. It's kind of a mess, but from up high you can't see any of the ones under there, apart from that one that's down the back of the radiator, so I'm not too bothered. You can start to see some of the cinema display cables dangling down. Kind of a big problem with the cinema display, it's got permanently wired in cables. Even if you don't need them, they're still there, so they're kind of just dangling around. But I think that that is pretty much it for this video. So there we are, I've shown you the setup which I am currently using. It's definitely not the best, and it's kind of a downgrade from what I was using before, but a few weeks ago I was just using my laptop on the Griffin elevator, so I'm happy to have another monitor on the desk, and I think this one looks quite nice. I think if you ignore all the messy cables all over the place down the back, this looks like a pretty decent setup. I'm guessing maybe at some point I'll get some longer cables, but it doesn't really bother me. So thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully it was interesting in some way, and I will link below the previous tour I did of my editing desk in case you want to see that. Now in the coming weeks I will be doing a full office tour, so that is something to subscribe to see if you want to, and I'll go into depth about everything else in this room because I've never really talked about it. I've shown it but not really talked about it, so that will be something to look forward to in the next few weeks. But for now, that will be the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.